EE Pathashala is now known as Devige. If you are watching this channel for the first time, do subscribe my channel. Hit the bell notification icon so that any new video you will get notification. Like the video. Share it as much as possible, because in another 3 days you people are going to write your 2nd PUC electronics board paper. So it will help your friends too. So share this video as much as possible. Hello students. Today in this video I am going to show you to select the chapters for passing. That is, paper is for 70 marks. Of course, this time the paper is set with 135 marks, wherein you need to score 70 maximum marks. But passing package out of 70 is 21. So I'll show you how to choose a simple chapters wherein you can study and important questions which are most expected questions. So this is in part 1. I am going to tell you about this in part 1, and part 2 I am going to give an insight about those chapters which you study. You can score between 60 to 70. 1 markers is always a gaming. If you know every single chapter nook and corner, then you can get 70 on 70. Otherwise, here and there 1 mark you will lose. Either 1 marker or 2 marker. That is why I said about 60 to 70%. Next. Let us start. The chapters are 13 chapters. FET is the first chapter. BJT biasing, that is transistor biasing, transistor amplifiers, feedback amplifiers, op-amp, like this it will continue. So the marks allotted is, for the first chapter it is 6, second chapter transistor biasing it is 6, whereas amplifier it is 18, feedback amplifier 8, op-amp 18, like this. So I'll just divide this into priority basis as set 1, set 2, set 3, wherein set 1 will give an insight about passing package. In this, the 4 important chapters are this. Each carries 6 marks. So if you take this count, it will come around 24. These 4 chapters itself is enough to pass. But by chance, if you are not able to answer any questions, then it may reduce below 24. Or if you have scored very less in practicals, you need totally 35 out of 100. So keeping this in mind, I have added 2 more chapters which are simple chapters, that is feedback amplifiers, wherein maximum things are derivations and problems will come on this chapter for 5 marks. Then oscillators, both these 2 chapters are for 8 marks. So totally set 1 contains 40 marks. Even if you lose 5-10 marks 20. Here, minimum 30 or 35 marks you can score just by reading these 6 chapters. You can easily finish these 6 chapters since these are very easy topics and very small chapters. In this we can really expect some important questions, and that I am going to discuss later. As I said, set 2 is for those students who are aiming for scoring above 90%. For this, already you have studied set 1. Along with this set 1, if you add these 4 chapters, wherein transistor amplifiers, op-amp, modulation, demodulation, digital electronics, these 4 itself will give me 70 marks. Amplifier 18, op-amp 18, modulation, demodulation 14, digital electronics 20. And in all these 4 chapters, one 5 marker problem is compulsory. So if you are thorough with these 4 topics, you can even attend the problem section, that is part D, first main. Along with these, the other 2 5 markers are coming in set 1, that is feedback amplifier and oscillator, which are very simple problem sections. So if you could attend this part also, so 3 maximum questions you can attempt in part D, so that 15 marks will be yours, that is problems section. So that is why I said with set 1 and set 2, if you go, you can definitely aim for 67 to 70 marks, provided 1 markers of set 3 you are aware. Because each one question will be asked, so at least 1 markers if you are aware in this, definitely you can score 70 marks. Set 3 is for those who are aiming out of out, that is 70 on 70. Those who are aiming 70 on 70, they cannot skip these 3 chapters. Even if they skip few questions, 1 markers and 2 markers, you should be thorough with these chapters. So this is an insight about how to select chapters for your exam purpose according to your ability. Are you looking for passing package? Are you looking for scoring package? Or are you looking for out of out in electronics? If you divide these things in these 3 categories, it will be helpful for you to revise. Don't read as if, okay, first chapter I finished, I need to do second chapter, I need to do third chapter. Don't go this way. If you go this way, you will get tensed last minute. Many chapters will not be revised and you will be tensed. Ultimately, you cannot write your answers properly. So, let us see now the important questions on set 1 topic, that is passing package topics. In that, the first one is field effect transistors. In this, if you go through for 3 mark important questions, it will be helpful. Along with this, as I told, 1 mark and 2 mark questions are also important. Some of those 1 mark, 2 markers will cover in this, but rest you need to study from the textbook. I cannot give all important questions from 1 marker to 2 marker to 3 marker to 5 marker. So, 3 marker and 5 markers I have shown in this. First question, distinguish between FET and BJT. This is very, very important. It can be asked even for 2 mark. If it is for 2 mark, 2 differences you will give. If it is 3 mark, 3 differences you will give. But remember, always write 1 or 2 extra points. If 1 point goes wrong, at least you can gain marks in the other. Explain the construction of N-channel JFET with the diagram. Whether they ask with the diagram or not, whenever we see construction, we need to write the diagram and then we need to explain. Explain the working of N-channel JFET. Again, with the diagram is optional to ask, but mandate to write the diagram and explain. Fourth question, define amplification factor, transconductance and drain resistance of FET. Amplification factor is mu, transconductor is GM, drain resistor is RD. Based on this, it's a continuation of this. Derive the relation between mu, RD and GM by writing the formula or definition in mathematical expression for these 3. The last question is explain the drain characteristics of an N-channel JFET with circuit diagram. Circuit diagram, then VI characteristics. Both you need to explain. These are very important questions among 3 mark, wherein few can be asked in 2 mark too, like define amplification factor, transconductance, derive the relation, draw the VI characteristics, distinguish between FET and BJT. Like these things can be asked even for 2 marker also. Then second chapter, BJT biasing. You can do one thing, you can take the screenshots and then search for the answers, write it and practice. That will be helpful for you in the last minute. So in this also I am going to discuss only 3 markers. First one, derive an expression to determine the coordinates of DC load line with voltage divider biasing circuit. Almost same question. Instead of DC load line, there may be a question to find or determine the coordinates of Q point. You know, DC, this whole chapter is based on this DC load line. This is VCC, this is IC, this is the end points of DC load line, which is VCC by RC plus RE for voltage divider bias. This is VCE, this is VCE, this is VCC, VCE cutoff is equal to VCC. Then Q point will come somewhere here. You need to find the Q point coordinates, that is this and this. So this is about these 2 questions. Then which biasing circuit is known as self-biasing circuit? Again it is voltage divider biasing only. You need to mention its advantages, like it gives good stabilization, Q point will not shift, it is widely used biasing circuit, etc. So define, the next question is define or write a note on thermal runaway, heat sink, leakage current of a transistor. Again this can be asked for 1 mark or 2 mark also individually. So explain, next question, explain stabilization of Q point, DC load line and Q point. Again this is another set of definitions, can be asked for 1 mark or 2 mark. Then the last question is how stabilization of Q point is achieved automatically in voltage divider biasing, or why this voltage divider biasing is known as self-biasing method. That is with the help of RE, how it can achieve the stabilization of Q point, that we need to explain. So this is about second chapter, 3 mark important questions. Then the 4th chapter, feedback amplifier. Here I have given 2 markers and 3 markers questions. Again little bit addition can be, this 3 marker can be changed to 5 markers too. So let us see these things first. 2 marker questions. Distinguish, 2 marker question, distinguish between open loop gain and closed loop gain. Minimum 2 differences if you give, that will be helpful, or 3 differences is always better. Distinguish between positive feedback and negative feedback. These are some questions which you find it difficult. Distinguish, applications, etc. If you want to know more about these things, I have a video in the description box in the link shown here, wherein what are the 2 mark questions which are important and most oftenly asked, also how they confuse a student to write and how to avoid it. All those things I have explained. You can go through the link provided on top right corner, so that you will get to know more detail about that. Now another important question is draw the block diagram. Here all the 4 parts I have included in the same question. You know, in feedback there are 2 types, negative and positive feedbacks. In negative there are 4 types of block diagrams: voltage series negative feedback, voltage shunt negative feedback, current series negative feedback and current shunt negative feedback. Any one of the diagram can be asked for 2 marks. These are most expected 2 markers I am asking. Not that other questions will not come, but these are the most expected 2 mark questions. Then 3 mark questions. Explain the terms feedback factor, that is beta, loop gain, that is A beta, closed loop gain, that is AF, gain with feedback. Then they can even add a question, open loop gain also. Open loop gain is A. There is a difference between loop gain, closed loop gain and open loop gain. Then draw the frequency. This is very, very important. Draw the frequency response of an amplifier with and without a negative feedback and show the bandwidth changes on the graph. Regarding this, in the model paper, I have solved the problems. In that, there is a problem based on this, and I have explained the graph in that. If you want, you can click the link given in the description box and you can check it out with that problem. Then the next one, compare the input and output impedances and voltage gain of 4 different feedback amplifiers. You know, in the above question it is mentioned what are the 4 different feedback amplifiers are there. How their input and output impedances are affected, how the gain is affected with the application of negative feedback. That you need to learn. That there is a table in the textbook, you need to learn that. That can be asked for again 1 mark, 2 mark or even 3 mark questions. For example, name the feedback amplifier whose input impedance as well as output impedance
20.
increases. Both will increase in current series feedback. So series, the resistance will increase. This is about chapter 4. Again in chapter 4, some 5 marker questions are there. In this, all are those main derivations. You know, there are mainly 4 derivations. One is voltage gain, second one is input impedance, third one is output impedance, and fourth one is stability. After this, that as I told you about the graph of bandwidth with and without feedback. So derive an expression for voltage gain of an amplifier with voltage series. Sometimes they may ask this or sometimes they simply give feedback. Remember students, chapter 4 is meant for voltage series negative feedback derivations only. No other derivations you have in second PU. So you can easily write, but again every derivation should have the block diagram. This is mandatory. So explain the effect of here, as I told you, voltage gain, input impedance, output impedance with the application of feedback. What is the new formula? For a simple understanding, the derivation here you should do is AF is equal to A by 1 plus A beta. Here ZIF is equal to ZI into 1 plus A beta. Output impedance ZOF is equal to ZO by 1 plus A beta. These are the derivations you should do. Then this is a stability, that is DAF by AF is equal to DA by A by 1 plus A beta. This derivation you should do. Okay. Then effect of negative feedback, this is what I said, even 3 marker I have told, and you need to explain that. There you are drawing the graph, here you are explaining. That means you are writing the equation, that is bandwidth with feedback is equal to bandwidth without feedback into 1 plus A beta. Also you need to write F1 dash, that is F1 dash will decrease, so that F1 by 1 plus A beta, wherein F2 dash will increase, so it is F2 into 1 plus A beta. You might be noticing all the factors are getting affected by the factor 1 plus A beta, either by dividing, that is either by reducing or by increasing. That many times or that many times it will either increase or decrease. And a 1 mark and 1 5 mark problem will be definitely asked from this chapter for first main of part D, problem section. Then chapter 6, oscillators, 3 mark questions. Draw the circuit diagram. Here I have given only 2. They can ask any RC phase shift oscillator, Wien bridge oscillator, Colpitts oscillator, Hartley oscillator, or even crystal oscillator, and write the expression for frequency of oscillations. Then this is again an important question. Draw the equivalent circuit of a crystal oscillator. Mention one application of crystal oscillator. Explain the working of tank circuit. You know, tank circuit produces damped oscillations. How does it produce? That you need to explain. Converting electrical energy to mechanical energy and again mechanical to electrical energy. Then explain the principle of lead lag network. This is important. This is actually coming in Wien bridge oscillator. So distinguish between damped and undamped oscillations and draw the waveform. Only distinguish can be asked for 2 mark and draw the waveform additional 1 can be asked for 3 mark question. Then 5 markers. Again here I have given 2 as an important question. Explain the working of Hartley oscillator. Explain the working. Whenever I say working, I need to give the circuit diagram along with the frequency expression. So explain 20. The working of Colpitz's oscillator with circuit diagram and frequency expression. Next is explain the working of crystal oscillator. All these things you have to write the circuit diagram, working and frequency expression. One 5 marker question will come on this chapter. Okay, the next chapter is 7, that is wireless communications. Let us see the 3 marker questions. First one, explain the role of ionosphere in communication, or it can be asked in 2-3 ways. Explain the function of D, E and F layer with respect to communication. Or simply it can be asked, write a note on D, E and F layer. Again this can be asked even 1 mark question, like which layer is present during night time, which layer disappears during night time, which frequency will be communicated through these layers, etc. Then the second question is, draw the block diagram of basic electronic communication system and explain each block. Students will get confused with this with digital communication or the transmitter and receiver. This is a very simple circuit wherein microphone, transmitters, channel, receiver, antennas, destination, that is loudspeaker will be there. So it is very easy. 1 sentence about each block you need to explain. Only the diagram will be asked for 2 mark. With explanation it will be for 3 mark. Then the next question is, explain in brief the ground wave propagation with the need diagram. Or the next question will be, explain in briefly sky wave propagation. Similarly, explain in brief space wave propagation. For all these things you need to draw the diagram, like how the ground wave is propagated, sky wave is propagated or space wave is propagated, along with the frequency, whether it will allow low frequency, very low frequency, high frequency, very high frequency, mode of propagation, that is through surface of the earth or line of sight or through ionosphere, etc. And which frequency is used for communication, whether it is used in radio, satellite, television, like this you can explain. So either one will be asked, and these 2 are very important question. Among these things either one will be asked for 3 mark. Or even the question can be like, briefly mention different types of electromagnetic wave propagation, EM wave propagation, then you need to mention these 3. So different ways they can ask. If you learn these things, any type of question you can answer. Then the next question is, write a short note on noise. What is noise? How do you measure? What are the types? What is the effect of noise? That you can write. Then define critical frequency, critical angle, single hop distance, multiple hop distance, fading, skip zone and skip distance. Any 3 will be asked for 3 mark, and this is very important question. These 3 are very important question. Along with that there may be a question based on this also. Then chapter 13, modern communication. This is basically with internet, email, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, radar, satellite communication, optic fiber communication, etc. So in this very important 2 mark questions are there, hence I have written this 2 markers first. That is, first one is explain frequency reuse and cell splitting in cell phone, that is mobile communication system. This is very important. Second one is also very important, distinguish between uplink and downlink. Here you can write definition and frequency. Uplink frequency is what and downlink frequency is what. Then the next question is define internet or Bluetooth or Piconet, Wi-Fi, transponder, etc. The definitions can be asked. Any one can be asked or many can be asked. In one of the papers, define Piconet is been asked in 1 mark question, which many students have not written, and they could score 69 out of 70, because previous year and all there is no choice for 1 marker. If you lose one question, so that you are going to lose that mark. But at least you people are fortunate this time. 15 questions are asking in part A, wherein you need to answer 10. You have 5 options even in part A. That is the very interesting part, so that you can score 70 on 70 very easily this time. The next question is, what is URL? Mention its general form. URL means Universal Resource Locator. This general format is www.username@host.domain. Host.domain. Mention the technique used in Bluetooth operation. That is, the technique that we use in Bluetooth operation is frequency hopping spread spectrum, that is FHSS, and frequency shift keying, FSK. This is also asked in one of the question paper, wherein many students didn't answer this because while reading they skip this type of questions. Then the next question is, mention few applications of satellite communication. Here one example I have given. They can ask few applications of satellite communication, optic fiber communication, radar, etc. So you need to know each and every application. See, the next question is expand radar, radio detection and ranging. Mention few applications of radar. The next question is, give classification of radar system. How many types are there? How are they classified? The next question is, what is optic fiber communication? Mention one application. 10th one, the last question, list the advantages of Wi-Fi over Bluetooth. It can also be asked, list the advantages of internet, advantages of satellite communication, like this. So instead of vaguely writing email, many a times they've asked what is the application of internet. They write, we use it for email, we use it for chatting. These are all communication only. Instead of all these things, write all these things as one, and then you can use it to search the information, to browse, to download, like this. If you give different answers, it will be helpful to get marks. Then 3 mark questions in modern communication, or sometimes it can be asked for 5 mark question too. The first question is, list the additional features of 3G and 4G cell phone systems, like the screen, LCD, or maybe the new techniques of the mobile screens that we are using, then touch screens, then you can write internet options, display options, then you can use apps in this, social media you can access, like this. There are plenty features are there that you are using in your present mobile. You can mention all those things. The next question is, draw the block diagram of satellite transponder system and explain its working. This is very important. Many a times it has been asked. Then the next question is, draw the block diagram of a Bluetooth system and explain its working. This has also been asked. Only the diagram, if they ask, they can ask it for 2 mark, and with explanation it can be asked for 3 mark or even 5 mark question. Then the next question is, draw the block diagram of optic fiber communication system and explain. These are very frequently asked questions. After reading this, if you have time, go through the textbook and learn few more things in this chapter, so that any question you will not leave in this chapters. Then the other one is, so part D, first part also you can cover by reading this set 1. Set 1, I have framed it in such a way that you can attempt for 40 marks. Considering I have not discussed about 1 markers and 2 markers in some chapters. So at least for 40 marks you may score 30 to 35 marks, so that there is no doubt that you can pass easily. Then set 2, for scoring purpose, you need to learn those questions which are very important, and many 1 markers and 2 markers you should be aware. Set 3 you should not leave if you want to score out of out, because part A contains even 1 markers which are very important to score out of out. So I hope this video will definitely help you all. If you think this is helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe the channel if you are viewing this for the first time. Also share this video maximum to your friends so that they also can take the help of it. Also, after your exams, please come back to the channel and comment in this, such that how much this video or this questions were helpful to you. From Devige, wish you good luck for your exams. Thank you.